So I know I'm a little bit behind on videos for this season, and it's not because there hasn't been a million things happening on the show, because believe me, there is. It's more so just because this season in my own personal life has been like super busy. I don't know why I couldn't have been this busy during like season 12 or something, because I feel like that would have been more convenient. But with that being said, I feel like we can't march forward into the finale without me touching on a few things that have been happening so far. Basically, so much has happened this season that a major character who's been on the show for 14 years has his wife die in a tragic, untimely death, leaving him widowed and a single father, and it's barely a footnote on the season. I don't know if this is like a hot take or not, but I feel like so much has happened this season that it's all sort of started to trample over itself. Like Gibbs almost fatally shoots McGee, but we can't talk about that because Sloane is leaving, and then we can't talk about that because Emily Fornell is dying of a drug overdose, and then we can't talk about that because Gibbs is suspended from the team indefinitely. I feel like in any other season, all of these moments would have been major turning points. And here they're just kind of moments. I just wish we were talking about the ramifications of all these events more, or seeing like the characters process these huge life changes a little bit more than we have been. A large part of me keeps wondering if this is all just kind of a byproduct of COVID. And I think the answer is yes, but also no. I feel like everything might have been paced out a little bit better had last season and this current season been fully realized 24 episode seasons the way that the others are. But even with COVID existing, I feel like things could have been handled a little bit differently. I feel like instead of kind of having this one-off where Brina was killed by COVID, we instead maybe could have had Emily Fornell still die, but Fornell can't have like a funeral for her because of COVID restrictions. And then Sloane could have been so heartbroken, you know, by seeing Fornell go through this loss and seeing the impact it has on the team, and it could have spoken to her about how like important family is and your time with them is limited, and then maybe go off to spend time with her daughter, and that could have been the reason that she left. I just feel like maybe Brina was an unnecessary casualty in all of this, and the way that they handled Sloane exiting to just kind of go to Afghanistan felt a little random to me. Going into this season, I said that I think only having 16 episodes was gonna force them to cut out a lot of like the normal filler episodes we usually get. Now I'm wondering if maybe filler episodes might be a necessary evil. But don't quote me on that. A lot has happened in a very short amount of time, and I wish we would have processed all of those things more, or spread them out a little bit differently. I guess that's what I'm saying. Let's talk about the finale, the reason that we're all here. Remember back in season 11 when they showed Tony and Ziva's one and only kiss in the promo, and I was like, man, I wish they wouldn't have done that. Hopefully they won't make that mistake again. One of my biggest requests going into this season was to have Bishop and Torres talk more, and we just got an episode where they had the talk, so I'll take it. I'm very interested to see where this relationship goes, not only because it's like Torres and Bishop, and that's cool in and of itself, but also because we've never had two members of the team be romantically involved and still be team members, which makes me a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit concerned, I guess, that they'll either choose not to be in a relationship or maybe they'll choose to stop working together. I know there's been some rumors floating about maybe Bishop leaving. I don't know if that's happening. I hope it's not happening because we've already lost 3 major female characters this season, but I digress. And not to put this energy out into the atmosphere, but NCIS has kind of set a precedent that characters really only kiss right before one of them leaves. Maybe they're deciding to break the chain now. Season 18, better late than never. I do think if they decided to kind of explore what it would be like for 2 of the team members to work together whilst openly being in a relationship, I think that would be interesting. I think there's a potential for it to be done well. I think there's a potential for it to be done not so well. But I do think there is potential there that we haven't really touched in the past almost 2 decades. The kiss existing makes me very happy, very excited, a little bit nauseous. Speaking of Bishop, it looks like the whole finale is very like Bishop-centric, with her being accused of stealing NSA documents or leaking them or something along those lines. I'm very excited about it. I tend to really like Bishop-heavy arcs. I'm also really interested because she's been going a little bit more on the rogue side this season, presumably training with Odette having something to do with that. She has just gone through such an intriguing evolution in the past like 2 seasons. She'll just be sitting there and like eating a snack on the computer, talking with the team, like just being the Bishop we all know and love. And then she'll be like, I learned how to kill a man in under 4 seconds. Girl, what? Why? Why would you say that? Odette! Odette is back. I love Odette. I'm so excited to see her again. I also think we might be seeing a little bit of The Office, maybe? And I'm primarily basing that assumption off of some of the sneak peek pictures we've been getting. To be fair, the thing that is making me think that is like the leaves. I'm like, oh, those look like the leaves outside the office. I don't know if you know this, but trees grow many places around the whole world. I guess we've eliminated the town from the Lorax. That's exciting. Ziva, can we please get a Ziva reference? Please. I was a little bit disappointed a few episodes ago when Phineas came back and there was no sort of Ziva reference like whatsoever, especially after they kind of hyped her up back in her own arc about her knowing a lot about the uncle. I feel like that might have been a missed opportunity. I don't know. I don't need anything big. I just need like a crumb, something, anything. And between Bishop and Odette, I know at least one of these women has been keeping in contact with her. So help me God if I don't get some sort of life update. Also, Ziva is the one that really gave Torres that nudge to tell Bishop how he feels. So if we're being rewarded with a kiss, Ziva better be in the acceptance speech. There is also a video of Michael Weatherly floating around with him talking about the finale and how it's really exciting and it's gonna like blow our minds. I don't think this inherently means that it's anything Tony and Ziva related, but just within the context of Odette also being involved in this finale makes me wonder if there could be some sort of reference. I don't think Tony and Ziva are gonna walk in and be like, hey Bishop, I heard you were in trouble. But to be fair, Bishop very much had Ziva's back when she was accused of espionage not all that long ago. So what is Gibbs' future? Will he be back on the team? There was a really bizarre moment in this past episode where Bishop was like, what you did, was it worth getting kicked off the team? Like, don't you miss us? And he was like, This whole Gibbs arc we've been going on feels a lot like a more drawn out version of that episode back in season 16 where Dr. Grace had to like talk him out of turning himself in. And ironically, that episode also kind of had a discussion about how Gibbs would maybe be leaving one day. I feel like this whole arc has kind of been leading up to that conversation, especially since we know that the episode is titled Rule 91, which we learned in the promo means when you decide to walk away. Could that be talking about him? Could that be talking about Bishop walking away from whatever she's been doing? I don't know. There's a chance it might also be referring to this whole rogue mission he's on with Marcy, and maybe he's deciding to walk away from that and return to the team. I feel like there's so many different directions that this storyline can go, and this is one of the few times where I feel like we're walking into a finale pretty blind as to where we're going to end up. New characters. We've been introduced to 2 new, pretty important characters recently. There's Marcy Warren, and then there's NCIS React agent Jessica Knight, the latter of which is potentially a new main character. Jessica Knight was just introduced in the last episode, and I feel like a lot of times NCIS kind of struggles with how to introduce new important characters. I thought they did a pretty good job this time around. Her exposition felt a little bit less clunky than some past characters have. Like in comparison to the end of season 13 when they tried to introduce Sarah Clark's character and gave her the energy of an overpowering Axe body spray, this felt just fine. I actually really liked her, and I'm excited to see more of her, especially because I know if she is going to be a main character next season, they're gonna refine and continue to build her up and make her a stronger character, and I really like the foundation and I'm excited to see where they go. Marcy Warren, who, if you didn't know, is played by Mark Harmon's real-life wife, Pam Dauber. I like her character. I think I would have liked her better if she had been introduced in a different season. I don't dislike this plot between Gibbs, teaming up with a journalist, and it's this whole new world for him, and they're kind of going rogue together and exploring. I think there's a lot of really exciting elements within that. The storyline that her character is accompanying feels like it's taking up a lot of time in an already really, really busy season, and I just feel like that's affecting her character and maybe my perception of her. As is, I like her. I don't dislike the storyline. I feel like my opinion of all of these storylines, none of which are bad, by the way. I feel like they're all really kind of exciting storylines with a lot of potential. I just don't necessarily love that they're all existing within the same season, because it does feel like a little bit of overload. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit of whiplash. This is going to be a little bit of a miscellaneous section where I'm talking about things that I don't know necessarily where else to place in the video. I really liked McGee's exchange with Jessica in this past episode where they were kind of negotiating with each other. I felt like he was a leader, but in his own way. Like, he didn't do the Gibbs thing of like, it's my way or the highway, girl, get lost. I don't know if Gibbs would have said it like that, but I've really enjoyed seeing his leadership skills grow throughout this arc, and depending on what Gibbs decides to do at the end of this episode, I feel like we might continue to see more of that. There is a part of me that wonders if the reason we've been building up McGee as a leader and kind of his own man is because we might be seeing less of Gibbs next season. I don't feel like that's out of the question 19 seasons in. There is a weird cut in the promo where this woman is like, "We're coming for you, agent," and then she doesn't say a name. She doesn't say a name, and it's cut very abruptly, which is making me think that it's a red herring, maybe? It's leading you to think that she's talking about Bishop, but could she be talking about Jessica Knight? Could she be talking about Gibbs? Could she even be talking about Odette? Maybe she's a secret agent. Stranger things have happened. I'm going and thinking that we're gonna be very Bishop-centric, but I also know that we're gonna have to close out some stuff with Gibbs. I'm hoping there's a really nice balance there. And I think that these two plot lines can work really well together because we have Bishop going rogue, we have Gibbs going rogue. The reason that I'm getting so passionate right now is because I know that this finale can be really, 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 really good. And I know that these plot lines can culminate really well together, and I'm just crossing my fingers that we get there. Looking beyond the season finale, some pretty big news came out on the day that I'm filming this, which is that NCIS for the first time is moving to Monday nights, I believe still at 8 p.m. Between Pam Dauber having an arc, Gibbs not being on the team for the latter third of this season, and now this, I can see how some people are talking about NCIS maybe starting to march towards an exit. I'm really fascinated to see what Gibbs's role is next season, because they've set things up in such a way that if he comes back to the team, I'm gonna be a little surprised, and if he doesn't come back to the team, I'm gonna be a little surprised. I've been making these videos for 8 years, and this is one of the few finales where I'm really, really unsure where we're gonna come out on the other side. At all. Please let me know your guys' thoughts, what you've thought of this season so far, where you think we're going in the finale, where you think we're headed after that. There is so much happening going into this finale that Odette being present isn't even my main thought. Where are we? Please let me know your thoughts, and I will see you for the recap and review of the NCIS Season 18 finale. The reason I'm getting so worked up right now is because I know this can be a really, really, really good finale, and why did my hands make that noise?